Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel and subscribing to Triple Aqua. From the West, from Key West, I'm Mermaid Christy Ann. So today I want to talk to you about a very important subject that comes up a lot, I feel, with people, and it sometimes can make us feel that we owe people an explanation. So today's topic is you owe no one an explanation. So the reason this has been brought up is because this is something that I battle with all the time. And it's mainly because people don't know my background. They don't know how I was raised. Because people that know me and have been around me my entire life, like my family, my immediate family, my extended family, very, very, very close friends that I've had forever, they know this about me. And so nothing ever shocks them or surprises them that I do. They're just kind of always like, ooh, what's next? What's next? And they know my history because they've been with me for so long. But I find, like, in the business that I'm in, that I constantly seem like to shock people with things that I do. And one particular thing has come up lately, and friends brought it to my attention, and just something, a project I'm working on. And one friend was like, yeah, because so-and-so was going to do that. And, and then another friend is like, yeah, I thought that was more like so-and-so's thing. And, it's interesting because the only reason that they pass that judgment or were curious is because they don't know the history. And so people don't know your history. So they kind of want to put you in these little boxes and think because that's all that they've known you to be, that that's what you're supposed to be. And that's not correct, because we're multifaceted beings. We are also shapeshifters in the sense that our upbringing and the things that we have done our entire lives mold us to what we do in the future. And there's a reason why we have those experiences, because it helps us to work with the jobs that we are going to have in the present, we are going to have in the future. And that's why you've had all those experiences, and that's why you've had the upbringing that you've had. I mean, even if it's been great, even if it's been bad, even if it's been indifferent, there's a reason why you had that experience. It's to lead you to where you need to be in the future. And so I say that because, I'm constantly feeling like, with my new friends mainly, that I am constantly having to explain myself. And the last couple of days, I'm like, this is, I don't have to explain myself. Now, I feel like if the right questions were asked, other than assuming or, people thinking and then later on say, yeah, I heard about it a long time ago, and then I was thinking why, because, that's kind of so-and-so's thing or whatever, or I thought it was more like so-and-so's thing. And, but if they only ask the questions, they will get answers, because you just need to ask the right questions. Like for me, people ask all the time, why are you in the business that you're in? What brings you to that? Well, I grew up here on the island, and at 1 year old, I can swim. At 4 years old, I was diving with tanks. I've been snorkeling, diving, free diving. At 15, I was a freaking wharf rat on the Lou Key dive boat, my entire high school, and going fishing and diving and spearfishing. And, this is what I did. I just, I've been on boats my entire life. I've been on the water my entire life, and then later on, when I was about 18 or so, maybe younger, I got a job at Captain's Corner Dive Center. It's one of the oldest dive companies here, and and selling trips and this, that, and the other. So, it is my background, what I do in the future. It's just people just haven't seen me like that, or think because, some people are doing it now because it's recent for them. A lot of these things I do, and some of the people around me weren't even born when I was doing these things. And, but yeah, I just feel like you don't owe anybody an explanation for anything. Now, like I said, if they ask the right question, sure, because people are curious and people want to know, like, inquiring minds want to know. But don't ever make people feel, even if it's your friends or your family, weigh heavy on your soul, like if you're doing something wrong, because no one knows why you are doing what you're doing, only you. And you know, things come to you, like things come to me that land in my lap, but in a sense, it's stuff that I'm made to do, I'm geared to do. I've done it my entire life, so it's easy, you know. From like 9 years old, I've always been like a very mature child, but very youthful at heart. You know, I've been teaching children how to swim forever. Like I taught my cousin Amanda how to swim. I taught, you know, so many cousins and kids. We used to hang out at the Key Western pool, and you all been there, you know what I mean. That was like the best pool. The sauna was cool, and the fact that it was like a saltwater brackish pool was really awesome. But I taught so many kids how to swim there, and so like what I do is really it's my life. It's my, you know, you have a lot of lives within one life. You know, you have a lot of different things that you'll go through, and but these are all things that have, you know, that molded me, that shaped me to be who I am today. So when you get confronted with, you know, people saying things like, well, I don't understand, I thought you were just supposed to do this and stay in this little tiny box because that's where you need to be. No, no one knows what you're capable of. You don't even know what you're capable of. And if things come to you and people want to work with you and say, hey, you know, we really want to work with you, we want you to do this, we want you to do that, do it, go for it, because chances are you're being approached because the divine is orchestrating all of this for you, because it's what you were meant to do. So this is kind of a short message, but I always say that and then I keep rambling. But I'm going to pull from the Akashic Tarot, because I feel like the Akashic Tarot is basically who we are and our core. You know, it's what's passed down from generation to generation. And that's another thing, like, you know, I've done my 23andMe, and my family comes from islands. We come like from the last 200 or more years, we're always by the water, by waterways. It traces all the way back up to the Nile River, where, you know, where people exported and traded, and it was always, you know, slaves but it's always by the water. And then where did we end up? You know, from my immediate family from Cuba, and then here. So we've always, you know, in essence, I've always been a mermaid at heart. I've always been a mermaid in my blood. You know, I've always been around the water. You wouldn't know right now because I'm like a pasty mermaid, but growing up, I was like this little dark thing running around, like, you know, with a copper tone butt all the time. And but yeah, I was blonde when I was a little, because it was so much in the sun. I actually was born blonde, but anyway, no surprise there. But yeah, you know, you are what you are because that's who you are made to be. That's what's in your DNA. That's what makes you tick. And God knows that, the divine knows that, you know, source, universe, and you will eventually come full circle, because that's all it is you coming full circle to really what you know, what's familiar, what you're meant to do. And you know, again, don't explain yourself to anybody. Don't feel like you have to. So from the Akashic Library, because the Akashic is about our ancient ancestors and what's passed down in our junk DNA, like science like to call it, but it's really like light codes and messages and, you know, epiphanies and things like that. So we're going to see what our ancient ancestors, divine source, has to say about, you don't have to explain yourself. Don't explain yourself if you don't want to. If you do, sure, go right on ahead. But only you know the matters of your heart, and only God knows the matters of your heart besides yourself. He actually knows them more than you do. I hope everyone's having a great day. I don't think I've posted like in a week. I've been making mer moves. Yeah, I know it's money moves, but in my world it's mer moves. So I've been kind of busy mentally, you know, occupied. Oh, cool. This is really cool. Actually, we have 3 cards. I'm gonna take them all. So the first one, these are so perfect. Okay, so the first one is King of Scrolls. And King of Scrolls is somebody who's smart, who's knowledgeable, who has experience, and they've written all of these things down. Isn't this what we're talking about? Like, you know, what I do is because it's my experience. It's what I've been through. It's what you've been through, why you are where you are, because you have, this stuff is written for you. It's written in the stars. It's written in your veins. You can't get away from it even if you tried. And you know, that's one thing. It's like if you haven't seen like that the Jonah, I mean the whale, I forget what I called it, but it's one of my previous videos about the whale. Watch that. You can't run from this stuff because it'll constantly keep coming up and keep coming up because it's what you're meant to do. And you know, that's what the King of Scrolls is. You know, it's somebody wise. It's somebody that that knows and has practiced and has written all of these things down and has the experience and the knowledge, and they've pretty much tucked all this information onto these scrolls. Well, we're kind of like that, you know, our brain's like that, you know, we've tucked away all of that knowledge. And you know, sometimes, you know, we do things and it's something that we've done in the past in this life, and we're like, oh yeah, you know, I remember, like all of a sudden you know, that trade or that thing that you worked on that one summer when you were a kid or whatever comes back around, like what's happening to me in my future. So all right, so this is great because oh, they're all so perfect. I just saw the third one. Okay, so the 5 of Keys is wish fulfillment, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. These are your wishes, like from when you were a kid. Like, you know, I guarantee you how many times did I wish I was a mermaid in the water, because I was always in the water, and being able to work on the water and be around the water and work with people and work, you know, just have fun and swim and teach people how to swim. And now I get to do it with mermaid tails. And you know, my whole world, like right now I'm working ship because, you know, I'm trying to pick up some extra money, but my life is mermaid everything. It's mermaid this, it's mermaid that. Even when I was a buyer for 10 years, like that's all I wanted to buy. I was just mermaid stuff. And you know, I remember one of the stores used to carry these mermaid figureheads, and I used to buy mermaid product. And I remember one of the buyers was like, oh yeah, we don't have mermaids in Key West. I'm like, says who? And then I asked another one of the girls, and she was the person that would decorate and stuff like that. Her name's Dali. I'm like, before I came, did we really have mermaid product in the store? She's like, no, just those figureheads. I really never saw that. So I introduced that to the island because it was a passion in me. You know, it was a wish. It was something that I wanted to fulfill. And then I went on to open up the first mermaid store in Key West, and then the first mermaid festival, and then I'm doing the first mermaid tours here in the future. And so like, these are things that I just can't get away from because they're wishes that are fulfilled. And if you do the right thing, and not that we always do, God, Lord knows I'm not perfect, but if we do the right things and mind our own business and worry about ourselves, our wishes do come true. They do get fulfilled. Just keep a positive mindset, mind your own business. That's another video that I did. Check that out. And your wishes will be fulfilled. And you know, 5, it's a 5 of Keys. And 5 is a number for change. And that's one thing, we're constantly changing and evolving, but it kind of is the same in a sense. So the last card, it couldn't be any better. It's the 5 of Scrolls. So we've got 5 and 5, which means 10, and 10 are new beginnings. And you know, that's what you do in your life. You know, it's change to a new beginning, change to a new beginning. And it's cyclical, you know, it goes around. It's that figure 8, you know, where it starts at the beginning, it's infinity. It just keeps going. And the next one is diversity. And isn't that what we're all about as human beings? We're diverse. Like, I'm diverse. I'm a Pandora's box. You know, I don't even know what I'm going to get sometimes, but I know that I'm not just one thing. I'm so many things. And being an old soul, like I've always been, I'm even more so because I've had past lives. And, you know, I know this to be true. If you believe it, great. If not, well, then, you know, that's not what your journey is. But, yeah, it's just, we're diverse creatures. You know, and don't let anyone put you in that little box and say, you just have to be that. Society does that. Our families do that. They want to mold us and shape us to what they think that we should be. Well, no, break out of that habit, break out of that mold, because you are so many things. I mean, the human brain is so many things. The human body is so many things. The ideas that we have, the way we express ourselves is so diverse. It's just, you can't put anything, you know, you can't put baby in a corner kind of thing, you know? So yeah, this is great. I really appreciate you all being with me today. I felt very passionate about this message because it's something that's been eating away at me for a couple of days. And I'm like, you know, I need to express myself. I need to get this out because, you know, at first I was like, well, you know, you want to like express yourself in kind of an aggressive way, you know, me being Latin, you know, and having like Aries and 8 placements on my chart. I'm really fiery, but yeah, I'm like, you know what, rather than just write it down, I'm gonna, you know, I'm finding so many things that that I used to do, and like, you know, I used to always write poetry and just write, and I'm doing that again now. You're constantly reinventing yourself as a human being, but you are who you are at your core, and nothing can change that. And that's what makes you good at what you do, is because that's what you were always meant to do. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a beautiful day. Please like and subscribe, and please share with your friends. Bye.